So next we're gonna welcome Shishir, and he started his dropshipping journey in 2019 and operate multiple stores and managed to achieve over 800,000 in sales. So we would like Shishir to share his own strategy with us.
Thanks, Gisela.
So Shishir is also a founder of the Dropshipping Council, and
Yes.
he's going to share with us more. Thank you.
Thanks, Gisela. Thanks for the invitation. Very happy to be here. Why don't I start by sharing my screen? And good afternoon and good evening to all of you. I'm actually based in Vancouver, so it's a bit early for me, but still happy to be able to share a little bit with all of you. So we're going to talk about a very important topic, and thanks, Camille, for sharing some of your information on the marketing side. I tuned in just in the latter half of your presentation. Really good content, but just tagging along, sort of, along the funnel. Essentially, once you bring in your customer, once you've acquired your customer, the next biggest thing almost that will determine your profitability is your average order value, the AOV for short. And we're going to talk all about how you can boost that figure, because that can mean the ultimate difference between profitability and losses in your business, right? So even doesn't matter how effective or how effective and which platform you're using to acquire the customer, if your AOV is not good enough, it'll be very hard to be profitable. So let's, Gisela, can you see my screen, by the way?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So the few topics I'd like to cover, they're all centered around building lifetime value. So LTV, it's a marketing term. Lifetime value is really the amount of money or revenue that you can expect from a customer the entire lifetime that they're a customer with you. So not just the first purchase, but all of the subsequent purchases they make with you. And the three ways that I'm going to talk about to boosting that LTV is through funnels, by treating your customer service as a profit center, and through subscriptions. So before we get there, let's talk about a brief intro about who I am, why you could trust a little bit of the advice I'm giving to you. My name is Shishir Nigam. I'm the founder of the Dropshipping Council. The Dropshipping Council is a private community that is for dropshippers and e-com business owners and brands who are doing at least $100,000 a month in sales. And it's a really close-knit community for entrepreneurs to network with each other. And we also provide access to a lot of masterclasses, very exclusive masterclasses from partners, and a whole bunch of discounts and partnerships that you can access as well with the Dropshipping Council. I am myself a seven-figure e-com store owner. So I'm definitely speaking from my experience. We've been featured by Oberlo. I mentor a few people as well, and we have our own YouTube channel called Journey to Freedom. So check that out if you have a minute. A few of our highlights over the years, we've grossed more than 800K in sales. Now that number is close to $1 million lifetime. That includes months in November, which have been up nearly 250K in sales in the month. So definitely it's been quite a ride, and we've had our share of pitfalls that we've learned through, but hopefully you can learn from some of the mistakes and lessons that we've learned along the way. So let's get right into this. I want to use the time most effectively for all of you. So talking first about funnels and AOV, right? How do you use funnels to boost that average order value? So as I mentioned, the difference between success and failure in e-com can be the average order value. And it's often the biggest determinant of your profitability overall, right? That is often the biggest tool you have to survive when your CPMs, the cost of marketing, is skyrocketing. So in Q4, which is coming up, really the only thing you have in your control is the average order value that you can generate with your customers, right? That is literally the only thing you have in your control. So don't spend too much time worrying about, oh, my marketing costs on Facebook are too high. There's too much competition on TikTok. None of that is in your control, right? So be very clear as a business owner what is in your control and what is not. What is in your control is how much people spend on your website, right? So the AOV is the only thing that you have control over, and the customer acquisition cost is a sunk cost. What that means is, if let's say your average cost to acquire a customer from Facebook is $20, and let's say from TikTok it's a bit lower, it's $10. Now that is a sunk cost. So when they are on your website, you've paid that money already, right? Now what they spend from there on is what's going to determine your profitability. If you spend $20 to acquire a customer and your average order value is $30, then your average profit is $10 per customer, right? But if you can find ways to boost that average order value to $50, suddenly for the same customer, your profit is now averaging $30 because your fixed marketing cost is $20 on average, right? So right away, you have tripled your profitability if you can boost your AOV to $50 from $30. So that can just be as simple as starting off with a $30 product upfront and then upselling a $20 product, right? So that can boost a customer AOV significantly up to maybe $40 on an average, right? So that's a simple example, but that's the real, the real crux of the matter here, and the real mechanics of how the profitability changes so much based on what your AOV is, right? Now, simple example here from my own business. This is an example of a funnel. And what do I mean by a funnel? In this case, this is a post-purchase upsell funnel. So this is a scenario where I was selling a single product, right? And this was roughly about a $30 product that I was marketing, primarily on Facebook, right? So my first upfront hook product, as I like to call it, was about a $30 product. But I had a dedicated and long funnel of complementary products which were sold to the customer after they made their first purchase. So there's always a bit of debate about post-purchase upsells versus pre-purchase upsells, and there's merits to both. And ultimately, I really feel you have to test it out in your own business model, and it depends a lot on the product type you're selling. In my case, the post-purchase upsells worked the best because I felt that every time I interrupted the customer journey in a pre-purchase situation, my conversion rates dropped for my first product, right? So I was feeding less people into my purchase funnel because I was maybe interrupting the journey with a pop-up in the cart page or in the checkout page, right? So again, it can be effective in certain instances. In my case, I felt it was more effective to not interrupt the purchase journey in the beginning, have them buy the product that they came there to buy first. Don't interrupt them. Once they've bought their $30 product, then introduce them to complementary products. So you can see that here in the first row, upsell offer number 1 was a complementary product that I was selling after somebody bought the $30 product. And this was giving me a 20% conversion rate. And just from this one upsell, I was able to net an extra nearly $58,000, right? So just from that one additional upsell, I'm creating extra profit, which otherwise I would be leaving on the table, right? So go down the funnel. This is not the only upsell. If somebody declines this upsell, they're given a downsell offer, which again, I'm converting at about 5%, an extra $3,500. Upsell offer number 2 is if somebody said yes to the first upsell, they get shown a second one and then a third one. You can see the second upsell also has nearly a 20% conversion rate and netted me another $18,000. So the point of this is every dollar that I earn from this funnel is pure profit, right? Because I've spent already the marketing dollars to get the customer here. They've bought my first product, and every incremental dollar that any customer spends is pure profit for my business, right? So this is definitely money that you do not want to be leaving on the table, especially if you're spending a good amount of money to acquire customers and you're having success with an initial product that you've tested and you're starting to see some good response from your marketing channels for, right? Now, this question I always like to ask the people that I speak to, that I mentor: when is the best time to sell to a customer, right? And the answer is, it's just after they've bought something from you, right? Why do I say that? Because that's when the customer has the highest amount of trust on you as a seller. because they have trusted you enough to go through your sales process. They've seen your ad, they clicked on your ad, they came to your website, they saw your product page, added to cart. They trusted you enough to give you their address, their credit card information, their emails, right? They bought the product from you. That is when the element of trust is the highest. And that is when they're most likely to buy something else from you, right? So that's why I say it's when they've just bought something from you. That's the best time to sell something to a customer, right? So think about what you can upsell, what you can downsell, what you can cross-sell. All of those elements need to be on the table the moment you find a product, the hook product that is working for your marketing audience. Then start thinking of your email flows, your text marketing, and your messenger marketing. So we call all of these owned channels. We call them owned because the lists that you develop in these verticals, in these channels, belong to you, right? The customers you first acquire, they don't belong to you, they belong to Facebook, right? That's why you have to pay Facebook to acquire them. But once you acquire them, don't just forget about them, right? Make sure you have an email database so that you can remarket to them. Make sure you're signing them up for text marketing subscriptions. And a simple tip there is don't just, in Shopify, if you use Shopify, you'll have a tick box that says, customers will have to check off that they allow you to market to them if they're providing their email and phone number. Now, on my stores, I edit that checkbox, which you can on Shopify. I edit that to say that you're agreeing to receive not just marketing updates, but also shipping updates, which I do provide. Now, that is something everybody does want to sign up for. People love to hear about updates on their shipping. So that's part of my checkbox text message, which says, please check off here if you agree to receive shipping updates via text message and email, and also marketing. So both things are happening, and the customers are signing up, obviously, because they want to receive the shipping updates, but they also get to receive offers as a result of that. So small little things here make a big difference. And the third one, of course, is messenger marketing, which again is huge, especially around that Black Friday, Cyber Monday timeframe, where again, if you have messenger, if you have a strong messenger list, you can really create some pretty amazing messenger marketing campaigns purely to your list for very little cost, right? The biggest point about all of these own channels is the incremental cost to you to market to them again is very, very low. So make sure you're developing all of these channels once you acquire the customer, and all of these will go back to building up your average order value, right? Because every customer that buys something from you from a follow-up text message, there's no cost to acquire that customer anymore. Nearly zero marketing cost. You just pay for the text message, and whatever they spend is building up the customer's lifetime value, and it's pure profit for you, right? So the previous funnels that I showed you over here, they were all developed on a software called Zipify, and they have so far netted me nearly $100,000 in extra profit, right? So that would be money would have not earned if I was not using those funnels to build up my AOV. And you can see as a result from where my AOV has trended, this is the kind of trend line you want to see on your store once you implement some of these funnels and AOV methods. Now, the second aspect is the customer service. Make your customer service your differentiating factor, right? In dropshipping and in general in e-commerce, there are very few elements that can truly differentiate you. Make customer service that element. Many people don't want to put in that time and effort. Make 24-hour response time a crucial aspect to your business. Be empathetic to your customers, right? Understand where they're coming from. Yes, it can get mundane and boring, but be invested in your customers, especially in the beginning. When you're learning about their customer profile, make sure you are the one doing the customer service so that you can learn about their concerns. What are they complaining about most often about the product? That can even help you improve your product, especially if you're private labeling, as Camille said, right? So use that feedback and improve your product and eventually your customer service. And treat customer service, treat each interaction like an upsell opportunity, right? You're recommending something to improve usage of the product. So use every opportunity whenever you interact with a customer, offer them a cross-sell, right? Offer them an upsell to their existing product. And it costs you nothing. So especially if you have a team of customer service agents, train them to provide that upsell in every email response, depending on the product the customer has bought, right? So your aim should be to have your customer feedback score on Facebook as high as possible, not only because that will boost your AOV, but your higher feedback score can really help you with your marketing on Facebook, because Facebook sees you as a legitimate business, right? There was a point where our feedback score had improved all the way to 4.9 out of 5, right? So we try our best to maintain it at a pretty high level. And then once you achieve enough scale, implement systems that are duplicatable. So Gorgias, Zendesk, all of these are very good platforms. Once you reach a certain scale and you're receiving, let's say, 40, 50 tickets per day, you can probably justify migrating to a system like that. Now, another simple example here, I like to provide you with actionable tips. One simple example you can use to make your customer service a profit center, okay? And full credit here to Dipesh Mandalia. He's one of the few marketing gurus that I really follow. And he gave this as an idea, which I loved. So whenever you have an upset customer, right? Or when you're offering a discount for any occasion, any Halloween coming up or whatever, as opposed to just saying 20% off site-wide, that's the most common thing people hear. And our inboxes are full of, save 20%, save this much, and so on. Instead of that, how do you differentiate yourself? Give people a cash card, right? What does that mean? Like this example here is from Gap. So Gap is giving you a $20 cash card. Now that feels like money, right? And it has an expiry date. So it feels like money that I would lose out on if I don't spend it. Right. So that's a simple change in the customer's mentality, where it's not that, save 20%. That's very common. It's almost like it still implies that I have to spend something to save something. But when you talk about a cash card, you can do the same dollar value, right? You can think about what your AOV is. If my average order value is $100 for my customer, and I want to give a 20% discount, then give my customers a $20 cash card instead, where they feel like they're losing something if they don't spend it, right? So simple little things like that can really make your customer service become a profit center. So anytime you have an upset customer, offer them a cash card. So that will, again, bump up your lifetime value, again, coming back to the first topic. And then last thing that I'll emphasize on to build your AOV and your LTV is subscriptions. You really have to think long-term about your business. Think beyond the first sale. Right? That's the biggest challenge that I had in the beginning, because we're so used to just testing products and moving on to something else. Think beyond the first sale. Once you start getting some traction, think long-term. You got to think about how you can build subscription elements into your funnel, right? If you're selling, for example, hobby products, right? You're selling, let's say, a golf kit, a certain tool that can help you with your golf swing. Okay, for example, a simple informational product can be an ebook, which is all about how to replicate your golf swings like the golf pros, right? You can find a lot of oftentimes free informational content like ebooks on specific topics on a whole bunch of websites on Google. And these are licensable. You can pay simply $10, $20, sometimes even $5 to buy an ebook, which you can resell, right? So this subscription could be as simple as somebody buys a golf product and the upsell is an ebook that costs you a single time $5, and you upsell that every single time to somebody who's buying a golf product to improve their golf swing, an ebook on how to master your golf swing and emulate the golf pros. You make incremental upsell money on every single time you do that, right? The other aspect would be refillable aspects of your product. So if you're selling consumables, right? If you're selling vitamins or something like that, obviously you know that it runs out. So you can sell a subscription. This is very much like Amazon, right? You can sell the average refill time and say every 2 months, sign up for a refill and we'll give you a discount. That is many, many, many times more profitable than a one-time purchase, right? And the great thing about having these information products, for example, is they increase your customer satisfaction with your original product. If somebody bought that golf item, for example, and your informational product helps them use it more effectively, they are happier with your product, right? They're more satisfied with the product because of the upsell you sold to them, right? They know how to use the product better. So it's a real win-win for the customer and you because they're more satisfied, they'll stay with you longer, they'll probably buy more things from you, right? One amazing book that I can recommend is called Subscribed. This is by Tien Tzuo, and this is a fantastic book all about the subscription model and how you can build up that lifetime value, all right? So hopefully that was of use to all of you in terms of boosting AOV. Again, check out the Dropshipping Council if you are creating more than 100K in sales. It's a wonderful community that you can get access to. And also, as I mentioned, we have a YouTube channel on Journey to Freedom that you can check out for a lot of free trainings as well. That's it from my end. Gisela, happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I saw a question from Michele. I will not read it out, so can you please check on the Q&A section, please? Thanks.
Sorry, from who?
From Michele. Can you see? The Q&A section, Q&A.
Sorry. Oh, Q&A. Sorry, I was looking at the chat.
Yes.
All right. So for a $50 product, would you show the first upsell offer for a lower? Good question. For a lower or higher cost product, okay. And what are the pricing of the other upsell? And are all the upsell done priced at a lower price point than they? Very good question. So in my case, in the example that I showed all of you, the first product was actually the lowest price product. So that product was $30. My next product was, I believe, about $35. My second upsell was, I believe it was a $50 product. And my third upsell was the most expensive. So I'm bringing them up a value chain. And again, that's a debatable approach. My opinion was, if I'm spending money to acquire the customer, then I want them to have the least amount of hurdle to get into my funnel once they buy a product, right? So if I have a $50 product compared to a $30 product as my first hook product, then my conversion rate will typically be lower because it's a higher price product, right? People have to think about spending $50. Typically, if you're selling something in the $20, $25 range, people are a lot more less hesitant. It's more of an impulse buy category. Anything less than 30 is an impulse buy. Anything more than 30, typically people have to give it some thought. You may need to invest more in retargeting to get them to buy. So if you're selling already a higher ticket item up front, which is your first product, then there's no harm selling a cheaper upsell, and you'll probably get better conversion rates if your upsell has a lower ticket, right? In my case, my upsell was a higher ticket item than my first product. So probably my conversion rates could have been even better if I was choosing a lower priced upsell. But again, that's something you just have to test to see what the nice little niche is for your product. Hopefully that answers your question, Michelle. Give a cash card, is it a coupon? So in fact, yeah, you're talking about how to implement it. So the marketing of it is, yes, you call it a cash card and give it a value. The way you implement it on Shopify is, yes, it is still through a coupon code, but you can specify that it's not a percentage discount, it's a dollar value discount, right? So you can say that it's a $20 cash card for any orders above $50, for example. On Shopify, you can create a discount that says any orders above $50 in the cart are eligible to use this discount, which will give them a $20 off, right? So you use it, implement it as a coupon on your Shopify stores. Third question is, how do you create automated flows to upsell your customers? Again, good question, Anthony. So in my case, I did it through a variety of ways. Automation is really the key. One, in my case, I was doing it through Zipify, which is a tool that helps you build funnels. You can obviously create automated flows to upsell also through your email software, right? So if you use something like MailChimp or Klaviyo, they have very, very sophisticated tools to build out an email flow depending on what your customer has purchased, right? So all of those will help you achieve automation. And similarly for SMS marketing, you can also use platforms like Omnisend or SMS Bump that will allow you to create automated flows that say, if a customer buys X, send them this text message to upsell Y. Those are all possible. You just have to learn the software a little bit.
So,
anything else?
Any questions? So, I would like to thank you again, Shishir. It's very early in Vancouver. Thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome.
I would also, I would like to also thank all of our speakers here. And thank you for joining our webinar and share all your insight with our audiences.
That's great. Thanks for having me, Gisela. Thanks. Good to see you, Simon.
Thanks, Shishir. It was awesome.
Have a good evening, everyone.
So we're gonna record this webinar and we're gonna edit it and share to our HyperSKU YouTube channel. So if you couldn't finish or like you still have questions, you can check on www.hypersku.com and also check on our HyperSKU YouTube channels. Thank you. Thank you. So I will close the webinar.